So we're back with another great session. This time Ivana is joining us and she will tell us all about prompt flow and how to get started with that in Azure AI Studio. So welcome, Ivana.
Hi girls, how are you?
Good, and how are you?
I'm okay. Spending a nice weather here in Argentina. I'm calling you guys from Argentina, so it's pretty warm here today.
Okay.
But since I'm in the computer, it's okay because I have air conditioner.
It is pouring with rain here. I hope the mics aren't picking up, but we're in kind of a place where you can really hear the rain on the roof. And so, yeah, that is quite chalk and cheese, as they say. You're in a very hot environment. It's very chilly here.
Oh, I envy you.
Really?
It's extremely hot on your side, right, at the moment?
It is.
Yeah.
It's almost like 35 degrees. So
Yeah.
it's not pleasant anymore when it is that warm.
No, I can imagine that. So before you start, can you introduce yourself for a bit, for those who don't know you yet?
Well, Ivana Tilca, I'm from Argentina, as I said. I'm a Microsoft MVP in AI and Azure. I love doing research and testing technology, so I usually spend a lot of time like hating code, but loving it at the same time.
Okay.
When you see the results, you love it, but when you have to do the research, it's like you hate it. That's why I love being part of event, because if people can see what I struggle with and get the solution, then I'm helping the world, and that is awesome.
That's totally true. That's also what I enjoy mostly. Yeah. Are you ready?
Of course, I'm here. So just let me know when I can share my screen.
You can share it now.
Okay, perfect.
Prompt flow is a really exciting one. We've been talking about prompt flow quite a lot this morning, so I'm quite excited for this session because I think it's going to really demystify it. I think everyone kind of knows the word potentially, doesn't actually know what it is, so I think this will be super valuable.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
And we will try to make it easy for people to love it like I do right now.
Sounds very good. Good luck with your session.
Thank you, girls. Well, everyone, welcome. This is a session in which the idea is for you to understand prompt flow, not only how to work with it in Azure, but also how to work with it in your own computer, because you can do that. I don't know if you knew, but that can be done. Before I go ahead and jump into the demos that I have prepared, I'm going to I present a couple of things which are important to understand before just going around and playing around with the code, which is what the girls were saying. What is prompt flow? Well, we can say that is a suite of development tools designed to streamline the end-to-end development cycle of large language model-based AI applications. So you say, okay, Ivana, that's pretty interesting. What tools are we talking about? So we are going to see how we can create, debug, evaluate, test, deploy, and collaborate with people using different, I will say, blocks of technology that work with each other and connect with each other and can create a flow. I know that a lot of things in Microsoft have the flow name, but this one, trust me, is particular because you will see how AI goes from one box to the other and the results that you're going to get and how you can implement different technology in each one of the blocks that you're going to connect. And at the end, you're going to have an application deployed and maybe consume whatever you are needing to build in your application, okay? Now that we kind of understand, remember, a group of boxes that connect, that's the main thing that you need to think about prompt flow. Now, usually you can see the title of my session. It's about Azure prompt flow. It is because you can run this technology in Azure and you will see the difference. I will show you the difference between running something on your laptop and something on the cloud and why each of them has their different point of the different benefits. When you see on the screen, you can see the collaborate area has the Azure logo because that's the main power of Azure in this case, that it's going to help us to collaborate with other people that are working in the same workspace on Azure Machine Learning with us. Now, I know, I heard, I'm a huge Seth Juarez fan. I don't know if you guys know the AI show, which is an amazing show that Microsoft has. And he mentioned in a session that Microsoft is actually working for people to actually code on the same flow at the same time. That is not something that right now you can do, but that's coming, I think, in the future. Hopefully, he is correct. And then I'm going to explain some concepts. So we have 6 concepts in here. And you can see, again, the ones that have the Azure logo are the ones that you can understand that are the ones that applies for Azure, the other ones not. So first of all, we have the connections. So as I mentioned, each one of the blocks that we are going to connect with each other can connect to something outside the box. For example, you can connect for endpoint and API keys in different services that maybe Azure or other providers can give you to implement. For example, Azure OpenAI. We can go ahead and create a block with GPT-3.5 Turbo, for example, and connect that, and we are going to get that connection to implement something with Azure OpenAI on that box. And then we're going to have another one, let's say with vector search, and then we're going to have another one, let's say with another service from Azure, and we can go ahead and connect each other with different services through connections. Now, the other thing that we have is the flows, which are YAML files. You will see it in the demo. Basically, we have 3 different flows, for example, standard chat flow, evaluation flow, and that will give us like the structure that the code needs to have. Then we have variants, which we will have the possibility to run different blocks at the same time. Let's say you are trying to see what's going to be the difference between running GPT-3.5 Turbo in, I don't know, a temperature, 3 different temperatures, and you want to save time because that probably testing that in each one of that temperature can take time. So you can go ahead and split in 3 different blocks and run it at the same time and evaluate the results. Then you have runtime. So of course, the computer resource that we're going to have on Azure in order to execute our flows. We're going to see that also. And we have the tools that we were talking about, that in the case of prompt, we have, you will see the large language model, the Python, and the prompt. You can see that inside the prompt, the Python, of course, we can code Python, but we can also create different tools. You can customize your own tool. That's something that Microsoft is also providing everyone the possibility to create what they want to. And some examples, some partners created the vector database lookup or the fire index lookup. We are going to see a sample of the vector database lookup. And then we have, of course, the possibility to track the performance and the productions that our flow has, and that is something that is in public preview, but you can also test and evaluate your prompt and how the results, and you understand what's the result, if that is something that is going to work for you or not. Enough with the talk or not? Yes, enough with the talk. Let me go ahead and take this away. Now, before jumping in the cloud, or no, let's go ahead and jump in the cloud, because I think it's easier for me to explain to you some part of the cloud before jumping in code. So if you go and create your Azure Machine Learning workspace right now, you will see something new on the left menu, which is, of course, the prompt flow option. Let me go ahead and launch my studio. Right, I have it in here. You will see now that there is this option of prompt flow in here. So I told you guys that you can run the same thing on your desktop, but I'm going to explain the cloud first, and then I will explain how to run this on your desktop. So in here, if you go to prompt flow, you can go ahead and create your prompt flow. But in here, you have the things that I mentioned about the concept that we need to understand. First of all, it's a runtime. So in order to run my flow, I need to have a computer instance. I have one in here that has a prompt flow environment in here that is nothing else but a container. And this is the one I'm going to use when I execute my flow on Azure, okay? This is only a container that has different things installed, as you can see. And that's it for the part of what it is the runtime. But in here, you also have the connections, as you can see. In here, I only added the OpenAI connection because the demo that I'm going to build in here is only going to consume that. If I click on here, you can see that I have the base of the OpenAI or my endpoint. I have the version of the API. I also have the when I created and I connected already also the keys in here. Okay, of course, you're not going to see it, but you're going to see it in a part of my demo, but I will update it later. And then you have the runs in case you want to see the result of what you have already run, okay? And the interesting part here is the connection part. Why did I wanted to explain this before jumping and doing that in my Visual Studio Code and desktop? Because in here, there is an extension that you can go ahead and download, which is called PromptFlow. And inside this extension, you can see that, for example, I have in here flows, but I have in here the connections. And in the connections, I don't know if you, let me go ahead and try to put it at the same time. I'm going to head, wait a second, I'm going to connections and I'm going to create a connection. You will see that you have the same options that you have inside your Visual Studio Code. So it's exactly the same. So if I go ahead and create the connection that I have in here, it's going to be an Azure OpenAI connection. And here I already have the same connection that I have in the cloud, but I also have two other connections, which is a cognitive search and a Cosmos DB connection. This is an example that I'm going to show you later on. But let's say I want to create a connection here. So basically I just go ahead in here, I paste my endpoint, the name of my connection, and then create connection, and it's going to pop up the terminal. It's going to request your key, and that's it. You have already the connection inside your environment to use them, okay? But then I have my flows. I have in here an absolutely empty folder already open, but I'm going to create a demo on that. And I'm going to select, as you can see, I selected the plus option, and I have the option of an empty flow, a standard flow, a chat, or an evaluation. I'm going to create an empty one because I want you guys to understand what is happening from scratch. So let's go to set standard. And I created, okay? This is the one that I just created in here. But let's go ahead and see what is created on my project. So I created a flow.dag.yaml, which we said that this is what we were expecting, right? And if I go back in here, I have the option to open it, to test it, to batch run, and to build. But I'm just going to open it. If I open it, you can see that this is, okay, this is pretty nice. It's UI friendly, I can say. I can understand there is an input, there is an output. Ivana, you didn't explain me what this is, but let's go ahead and take a look at what is actually behind that. So what we have inside is an input, an output, and some nodes, okay? Remember I told you that flow were boxes together with each other, where that's what we are going to call in here nodes, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start typing. You're probably going to say, Ivana, I don't know what to type in here because this is the first time in my life that I'm going to create flow. Well, I already know what to code in here, but what I want to show you is what happens when I code that. As you saw, I created an input, which is type text, string, and it's going to have the default text, hello world. And if you've seen here, my UI is actually telling me that it's going to have a text that is going to be a string and it's going to have hello world, okay? Now, if I go ahead and create an output, I told you guys that later I'm going to explain how to do this much more easier, but I want you to understand that this is actually something that is useful to understand. So I created an output, which is a string. So according to this, if I have here the output, which I set the value to this, right? This is, we can say this is similar to actually what I'm going to call in the UI. Now, the difficult part comes, which is the node. I'm going to add the node the easy way, because I don't want you guys to understand or to know all the different code that I'm going to rewrite. And so I said, okay, now I'm going to add my first block. And my first block is going to be a prompt. Remember that we have different tools. And in this opportunity, I'm going to create a prompt. And I'm going to say, this is hello prompt, okay? Now, what happened? It's telling me that it's going to create a new file. Okay, so wait a minute, Ivana. You have the input, that is something that I'm going to send to the flow. The output, which is something that the flow is going to return to me at the end of the entire flow. And now you are adding the first block, which is going to be, let's say, type prompt or code. But you're creating a file. Does this mean that each block is a file? Let's go ahead and see. So I gave it a name, and I'm going to create the first block. This is the block, and you can see it pretty nicely here. And actually, this is according to the file that he just created, okay? This is calling hello prompt.jinja, and it has some value by default. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we created. And it says, please summarize the following text in on. This is pretty similar to something that we already know, I guess, probably you already know, which is Da Vinci, right? Or maybe GPT, I don't know. But what we're going to do in here, I'm going to create a program that actually creates code for me. So we can say that it's going to be something like a copilot, like a small copilot. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to say, okay, write a simple something program that displays the greeting message when executed, okay? But I don't know which one is text. I don't know where does text come from. If I go ahead in here, Ivana's nothing happened. If I go ahead and take a look in here, absolutely nothing happened, right? But we're going to see that we need to set something to the text, because this is a text. This is a text that is being called in here. And we have the hello world in here. So let's go ahead and say, what happens if I write a simple hello world program that displays the greeting message when executed? So I take a look in here, and I can go ahead and type in here the variable, but no, I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to just click in here and say, wow, it already appears in here. So it's telling me that the value that is going to be assigned to the first block is going to be the input.text. So it's going to be the input.text. That is the one that I have in here. Wow, I have the first part of my flow working in here, okay? Now, what do I need to do in order to create a program, to create exactly what we need to do, to create a program that displays the greeting message when executed? I'm going to close this, and I have this that you can see now that you know what happens when you call something from another block. I'm going to create a Python block. This is my second block, okay? And this one, I'm going to call it LLM. And wow, this one, hello prompt, created a hello prompt.ninja, and I'm creating a Python block now, and it's going to create also another file. Let's go ahead and select another file. And it created in here a .py. So do I need to know Python in order to call? Probably it would be awesome if you know Python, but we will see in another example that that's not needed at the end. Now we need to connect these two, okay? But let's go ahead and take a look what the code was created in here. So it get a hello from prompt flow import tool, and it created a hello world, and it's giving you an input, right? So I'm going to see here, I don't see any box. Well, let's go ahead and code something. As you know, I have a little more time, so I'm going to just paste the code that I have in here. But I'm going to explain this. So I have OpenAI version, import version. So I'm going to get the version from somewhere. I had the .NET because I want to use the load.env, and I have the prompt, which is I'm going to import the tools. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to create the connection to Azure OpenAI, okay? And now we're going to say get client. This is pretty straightforward. I'm going to connect with the key to the base and the version. But Ivana, where is this information right now? Because I didn't see you put that information anywhere. And I told you I was going to show you the keys. Well, I'm going to create in here that end file. Why? Why if this connection is already saved in my prompt? Because my idea is this code is calling specifically the end file because I'm planning to upload this to the cloud and I'm going to pull this to the cloud, okay? So now I know that I have in my end file, I have the same keys that I'm going to be using in here. So that's it. I have it, everything absolutely amazing in there. But now, how do I know which one is information I need to take? And let me go ahead and take a look where I have that information. I'm going to search because now I need to make sure to call the model that is going to code my program, okay? And in order to call the model, I need to know which one is the information that my model needs to receive. So for that, I'm gonna go to my Azure OpenAI Studio. Second, because it's taking a little bit of time to load. Oh my gosh, I have no much time. Okay, so we have in here, I have the different deployments in here, right? And the one model that we're going to use is simply one that I'm pretty sure that you guys know, which is DaVinci. That's the one that's going to help me code. So let's go ahead and take a look at DaVinci. Let's open it in the playground. And we can go ahead and load the examples. But this is what is important to me. So this is the information that I need to know in order to call my model, okay? So now that I have that information, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paste in here the information that I need to use. So I have the deployment name, I have the prompt, I have the temperature, I have the max token, etc., which is the information that I have. And finally, I'm going to replace the next. And this is going to go to the model and create the program. It's going to go back to return to me, okay? Now, everything is absolutely amazing right now, right? But no, it's not. Take a look at this. This is required. I put it as required. So, but I don't have the value. I don't have the deployment name, but I do have it. It's actually text.davinci. That's 00C. That's the one that I have in here. Okay. That's my deployment. Yours can be different. And then I have the prompt. And it is easy to understand which one is the prompt when you are creating the flow, because we have the input, it's going to hello prompt, and the information that I'm going to say in the model is the result of the hello prompt. So if between these two, it's going to be this one, okay? So I'm going to connect these two, which is hello prompt.output. And then finally, I need to return something, and we have the output in here. I put it something as example, but in here, what I need to do is to display what comes as a result from the prompt flow. Okay, guys, I think we have everything completed. So we have two boxes, something is going to go, and how do I run it locally, Ivana? So you can go ahead and take a look and run it in here. And if everything turns out fine, what we're going to have is, we have in here our program, but I don't understand, Ivana, what is happening here. We have in here the prompt flow option, which, as you can see in here, is telling you which one is the code that is going to the model. It's giving you the input and it's giving you the output. But I'd like to see it in here. In here is much better. So you can see the last block. This is something cool because you can see it in each one of the blocks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hello prompt. So I'm sending the text, which was hello world, and the output is going to be write a hello world program that displayed the greeting message when executed. So it replaced the text that we had in here. And that's what is going to the next box, which in this case is going to give me exactly a program that is going to display hello world on my screen. And that's it. That's how simple it is. I don't have much time to explain the other example that I have, but I want to show you guys one that is amazing because you can go ahead and download it from the cloud. I don't know if you saw Microsoft Ignite, but in Microsoft Ignite, there was an amazing session about PromPlo. And this example is in there. You can go ahead and you can see this is much bigger than what I developed, but these are blocks. These are blocks that go in one to the other. And in this opportunity, this is actually going to consuming not only Cosmos DB, where I have hosted information, but also it's consuming vector search. So this is actually, as you can see, I already had it running here. This is giving me even a chat that has different emojis and is creating amazing content, and it is pretty easy. Now, before ending, I want to go ahead and show you something, guys, which is, okay, Ivana, you run everything on your local machine, but you didn't show me how can I do that on the cloud. And there is something, if you go ahead and create your flow on the cloud, you can go ahead and import your folder so you can run the same code on the cloud. Like I just created the code. We can go ahead and go and upload the folder in here. But you also have amazing example in here, and I'm going to create the chat flow for you to know. This is the other example I had in order to run it locally, but we don't have much time. So usually you will see this, okay? When you you clone an example that Microsoft has that can provide you in the cloud. You can see that it has an input, it has a chat, and it has an output. The same way these are blocks is exactly the same as you are seeing on Visual Studio. But in here, you can go ahead and choose the connection that you want to use. In this case, we are going to use ChatGPT 3.5. It's going to have the tokens. It's going to, if we go ahead and test it, this is going to give us, we can go ahead, save it, and test it in the chat. I will show you that in a moment. But what happens if I want to download this code? You can go ahead and take a look at the files in here. Take a look at this. We have one block, and that block is a Jinja file. And you can go ahead and open this, which is inside of this, but you got the flow tag.yaml, which is the same one that we have on our Visual Studio Code. So we can download this example and run it on our Visual Studio Code without any problem. There are some requirements that if you take a look at the extension, you will see which one of the requirements that you want to use in order to install in Visual Studio Code to run everything. So we have this, and in order to chat, I'm going to just hello. And this is going to go to actually ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, okay? It takes a while. That's why I love to run it locally, but I love also to run it on the cloud because as I mentioned, it's easy to work with other people that are also working on the same flows. Let's say one is working on one of the boxes or the nodes, and other people is working on others. It is much easier to create something and see the results in the end. Awesome. I don't know, girls, are you in there? Do I have much more time? Can I use or try to show a little bit of a last demo? I think I can. If the girls are not talking to me, it means I can. This is the demo I was showing you that actually is consuming Cosmos DB and vector vector search, sorry. And as I told you, this has an amazing demo. You can go ahead and take a look at the code. Why? Because this is not only connected, but it's also explaining what is coming and going to the cloud. For example, this is going that you can see the messages, you can see the content, you can see the different customer data that's going to the cloud. So you can better understand the flow and how this is working in each one of the steps, and getting information from PDF, etc. So you can go ahead and understand how to create your own application with different technology all in one prompt flow. I think that's it from my end. I don't know if there are any questions. It was a pleasure to be here.
Incredible. Yeah, we didn't want to stop you. You were giving such great information. We definitely want to see that end piece. So thank you so much for doing those two demos and showing those two options, right? That UI option inside Azure, or you can go code first if you're, I mean, you're obviously very advanced in this. Maybe we can all start with the UI and then head into that code afterwards once we start to understand it. What have we said all day? A blank page is the hardest place to start. So you really scared me there
Yeah.
with, oh, I'm just going to create like a Python file and just coding from scratch here. No worries.
Yeah, but it was really impressive because I do have some experience in the UI, but to be honest, I didn't see it running in Visual Studio Code, and it looks very good. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love to just go ahead and play around with the code, not just to test in the UI. I think it's a challenge. I also find bugs for Microsoft that way. So if people do it, please just send and inform that Microsoft that there is a bug, or help the team, the production, the product team on making this tool much more better. So yes, I love to play around with both.
That's brilliant. So if someone in the community is going, yeah, this looks like I could do with using this, I've learned so much all day, what's the one resource you think they should go and do next?
Definitely Microsoft Learn.
Nice
Microsoft Learn has all the information in order to run and create your prompt flow in Azure, but it also can guide you and make you understand how everything runs on your machine and how to put things together and complement each one of the areas.
Nice. No, that's a great call
Yeah.
out. And yeah, Microsoft Learn, easy place to go learn, all free learning as well. We love that. It's not pure documentation. It kind of tells a bit of a story, guides you along, and then you can head nicely into that documentation afterwards when you're a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot for joining us again today and for your great session.
A pleasure, girls. Hope you have an amazing end of the event.
Yes, definitely. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we're now heading into our last session.
Oh, how have we made it here? At one point, it didn't feel like we were going to make it.
No, when we started, I thought it was never going to end.
I know. But yeah, another wonderful session, right? Prompt flow, incredible tool, really good way to build different sort of building blocks up. She gave an awesome sort of end-to-end that's super hands-on, and the session before it, ironically as well, was kind of, thinking a little bit more about hands-on. But with that, we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll head into our last session of the day.